Okay, good morning, children. For this week's assembly, I have called it Are We There Yet? And I want to start by asking you, how much do you moan? Have you moaned recently? Just have a think, be really honest. Perhaps you moaned when Mum and Dad said you need to tidy your bedroom. Perhaps you moaned because you've got to do some more learning at home and you'd really like to come to school. Perhaps you've moaned because you can't play with your toys when you want to be doing your learning. Or perhaps you've moaned because you're a bit fed up now and you want to go out and see people and you've been at home for a long time. Well, children, this morning I want to share a story with you. It's a story from the Bible and it's a story about some people that moaned. But before we start it, I want to ask you, have you ever moaned on a long journey? Have you ever said to Mum and Dad, "Are we there yet?" I can remember as a little girl asking my parents, "Are we there yet?" And I can definitely remember my children asking me that. We tend to ask that when we've been in the car for a long time, we've been travelling for a long time and we're really fed up. And that's kind of what happens in the story that I'm going to share. So the story I'm going to share with you this morning is about a man called Moses. So what happened was many years ago, the story in the Bible tells us that some Israelite people were treated really badly, but they were slaves in Egypt and they weren't treated very nicely at all. Well, after hundreds of years, the leader Moses decided that they really needed to try and leave Egypt, and the Israelites left and they went on a long journey to try and find a better place, a place where they would be treated well and they wouldn't have the life that they'd had before. Well, they thought it would be a quick journey, that they'd leave Egypt and they'd find a better place. But children, it took a long time. And I wonder if you can just think about the longest journey that you've ever been on. How long did it take? My children would probably say when we drove to the south of France that we spent 2 days in the car and it was a long time. And they said many times, "Are we there yet?" Well, children, for the Israelites, they weren't in a car. They didn't go on an aeroplane. They had to work. They had to walk on their journey. And their journey took a long time. They had to walk through the desert. They didn't have cars or aeroplanes. They probably had some animals. But they walked through the desert for 40 years. Imagine walking for 40 years. I wonder how quickly on a walk you stop to moan. When you say, "I'm tired, my feet hurt. Can we go home? Have we finished?" I wonder how long it takes before you moan. Well, the Israelite people walked for 40 years. I imagine there was a lot of moaning going on. I imagine lots of people said, "Are we there yet? How much longer?" Well, children, the story tells us that because God could see that the people were getting a bit frustrated, he gave Moses a special blessing to tell the people. And this blessing was to encourage them and to keep their spirits up. And the blessing said, "The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face towards you and give you peace." Because that was to help the Israelites in that difficult time. Children, I've shared that story this morning because I think that can help us in lockdown. I think sometimes we can feel like, how much longer? Are we there yet? Is this going to come to an end soon? You might be fed up with doing your learning at home. You might be fed up with not being able to see your friends and family. Perhaps fed up with not being able to go to swimming or dance class or play football, the things that you really enjoyed before. And children, because lots of people have been feeling like that, some musicians have taken this blessing that Moses gave the Israelites and made it into the most beautiful song. And for our assembly this morning, I want us to listen to that song. I've chosen a version of the song that's been sung by children, and the children are all in lockdown all over the world. So there are some children from Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, America, England, all children just like us, just like you, in lockdown. Children, whilst you watch and listen to the song, think about the things that you've moaned about, but also start to think about the things that have been good during lockdown that you've enjoyed. and perhaps think about the things that you're really looking forward to. So I'm going to play the song now and you think about those things. And then at the end of the song, I'm going to say a prayer. And just like in school, if you agree with my prayer, you can say amen at the end.
Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you. Be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face towards you and give you peace. Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you. Be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face towards you and give you peace. Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you. Be gracious to you. Lord turn his face towards you and give you be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family, and your children, and their children, and their children. May his favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family, and your children, and their children, and their children. May his presence go before you and behind you and beside you, all around you and within you. He's with you. He's with you. In the morning, in the evening, in the coming and the going, in the weeping and rejoicing. He's for you. 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 He's for you.
Okay, children, so just like in school, if you agree with my prayer, you can say amen. Thank you for all the things we enjoyed doing before lockdown. Help us to be patient until lockdown is over. Help us to remember that we will be able to do all those fun things again. Amen.